Jamie Jacobs' life has always been extreme, even as far back as her early childhood, where she and her twin sister witnessed and were victims of abuse in the home.
I remember being really young, even at 5 years old. Remember the screaming and fighting, and my mom would wake us up and pull me and my twin out in front of my dad, so maybe it would prevent him from hitting her, but he would just keep doing it, and then he would put us back in the room.
Although her father physically abused her, young Jamie still sought his love.
It made me really think something was wrong with me. I desperately realize now that all I wanted was love, and that the people in my own house I was terrified of, but I thought it was normal. I thought everyone was getting hit. And there was no one I could really talk to. I got angry, but I wasn't allowed to be angry with my parents, so I'd kind of have to hold all that in. So I was angry, and I started getting really depressed.
Jamie carried that anger and depression into her teens.
Around that time was when I met another girl, and she was like me. Like, we were both reckless, wanted just to be crazy and party as much as we could. The first time with her, I ended up drinking. It was horrible. I was so sick. But I remember it just made me forget for a little bit, you know, what I was living, so I felt like it was the answer. Partying became my life. Like, that was what I did. That was all I did. That was what I was good at. And so there was really no end in it, you know. So I did a lot of drugs, and I had really bad withdrawals, and I would do more drugs. So I became really unstable.
With her habit now a full-blown addiction, young Jamie found extreme ways to pay for her next high.
I started just making money how I always made money. Like, if I got picked up on the street, I would go to the casino, look for men there, you know, basically prostituting, and for drugs for money. When I found the meth, that was when it got bad fast. I was overdosing a lot with the mix between the uppers and downers. I would be walking down the street, and then I would like wake up, and I would be in like somewhere I didn't even know where I was. Like, I would be really far one way, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just gotta get home, or something's gonna happen to me. I had no control over it.
It wasn't long before the chaotic lifestyle caught up with Jamie, and she tried to escape it by committing suicide. But a failed attempt led to a cry for help.
I knew God was real. I would cry out to him and to ask him to take away my pain, and it was still there. I needed help. I was really running and looking to people to kind of wave a magic wand over me and say, you're fixed. So I would go to every prayer line, get every demon cast out, and when that didn't work, I would get more angry, and then I would go to counselors or have someone anoint me with oil, and that didn't work.
Trying to fix things herself, Jamie received a sobering phone call from her older sister.
She called me and said, where are you? I'm coming there. And I said, okay. And it was really strange, the fact she's coming where I'm at. And so she came there, and she told me that she had a vision, and basically that I was gonna die if I don't stop doing drugs. And because of the way I was feeling at that time, I was feeling full of peace, and I was feeling happy, which I never experienced that before, you know? So I'm like, okay, there's something weird going on. So I remember in that instant, as soon as she left, and I dropped to my knees and I said, God, please, I will quit doing drugs, just let me live. And it was shortly after that where I was back at Windsor Christian Fellowship from when I was a child, when my dad used to bring me, and I got born again baptized.
An active faith life and a supportive church community helped to keep Jamie on the straight and narrow for 2 years. But one day she received a phone call about her twin sister that changed everything.
The guy she was with had called and said that she was in the hospital, and I just knew right there. I remember calling my dad. I said, Jen's in the hospital, and he's like, calm down. I said, no, it's different, no. And so when we went there, she was on intensive care, and I called my pastor, and they had come and prayed with her, and so she was on, I think, in an ICU for 3 days. They did a surgery, and then they had to pull the plug.
Jamie kept it together on the outside, but on the inside, she was unraveling.
I blamed myself, and because I was a victim, like I was determined to destroy myself until there was nothing left of me, and that's exactly what I did.
1 year after her sister's death, and shortly after her brother-in-law committed suicide, Jamie went back to extremes.
I just didn't know what to even do with myself. I started using needles, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it out of that. I really started to question even having a little bit of hope, that I can get out of this.
Scared, confused, and desperate, Jamie again tried to fix things herself. But an unexpected encounter reminded her that true healing can only come from God.
I was at the gym at my sister's. All of a sudden, I just closed my eyes and I felt God's presence. Like he was there, and I was crying and I didn't care. I just kept my eyes closed and I really didn't care who was around me. And I heard him, like it was so clear. He said, "Jamie, it's time to come home." I went to my sister and I go, "No, Susan, I have to go home." And she said, "No, no, no, no." And I said, "Susan," I said, "it's God."
After years of on and off again addiction, Jamie finally packed up all of her baggage and sought the help she needed, leaving a life of extremes behind her.
I needed to get away from everything and have an excuse to not talk to anybody. So I decided to come to Windsor Life Centre.
The Windsor Life Centre is a Christian drug and alcohol treatment center devoted to the care and recovery of women 18 years of age and older. For Jamie, it was a new beginning.
All the staff, they loved me when I felt unlovable, when I felt unworthy. Then it took me a long time to realize that he loved me. You know, we don't really see through our brokenness, but I mean, when God can get in there and heal us, it's possible. I feel like I'm living in a miracle. Like I had Jesus. He loved me so much that he died for me so that he would see me on the other end, but he continues to just love me and pull me in, and there's nobody that ever loved me that way. I always was looking for love, and now I found this love that I can grab onto and that it's not gonna hurt me. You know, that's all I ever wanted, and I have it. So I feel, every time when I think about that, I feel grateful, and I'm grateful. Like I can have a family. Like I just feel confident in who I am today. I'm not full of fear and anxiety. I have peace.